Ohio State's like doubled up on them.
Mm-hmm.
But they doubled up on every team almost.
So I did a story earlier this year about a revival at Ohio State. The football team was leading it. Tons of young men who became Christians on that team.
Oh, okay.
Very evangelical.
That's great to hear.
It is. It really was a fun story to do. But I'm wondering if there's some theological implications. Did the Protestants just beat the Catholics? I'm not sure if that...
Oh, that's true.
If you want to bring that up, you go right ahead, Steve. We have a lot of Catholic listeners.
And we'll just sit back, right?
Well, we'll say this, as far as recruiting goes, Ohio State has a great situation.
Yeah.
Because Ohio is one of the largest states in the country. They have phenomenal high school football. And guess what? They're the only game in town.
Yep.
So if you grew up in Ohio, you grew up a Buckeye fan.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And so it's it's built in,
Yeah.
right? It's built in that they're going to have a great team almost every year. And then that cathedral they have up there in Columbus that they play in.
Yes.
Is like, one of the most intimidating places to play in the country. So, all right, congratulations to the Buckeyes. What's your first story, Steve?
I want to congratulate President Trump. Only 48 hours in office, and he's already solved global warming.
So he has some team speed too.
Yeah.
Huh?
He knows.
See how I did what I did there?
Listen,
Yeah.
they are getting after it. I mean, they're getting a lot of stuff done in the first couple of days, and I don't think that pace is going to slow.
Go.
Okay, let's talk about a couple. I want to talk about the executive order that overturned, or it pretends to overturn, birthright citizenship. So the way that most people understand it is, if you are born in the United States, you are a U.S. citizen. Certainly, if your parents are American and you're born here, you're born a citizen. If your parents are legal residents, permanent residents, you're born here. Law has held that you are a citizen. But it's also been taken, we've heard the term anchor babies, where women will come across the border just to have the baby, just so that they can have a citizen, and then they can follow that, citizen into the country later on. And so President Trump is overturning this. What he's saying is the 14th Amendment, which is what grants birthright citizenship, it has two clauses. The first clause is anyone born in the United States is a citizen. But the second clause says, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Subject to the laws and jurisdictions thereof. So that's what President Trump is saying, is that illegal immigrants, or anybody that's in this country on a little short-term basis, still has allegiances to their government back home, they're voting back home, or they're just here for a visit or whatever, they don't qualify under that second clause because they're not subject to the laws of the United States. They're not becoming citizens. They're not, bringing their whole life here, so they are not. He says they're not citizens. This is going to end up before the Supreme Court, and this 14th Amendment was originally written so that the children of slaves were guaranteed to be granted citizenship.
Right. 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments passed in the wake of the Union victory in the Civil War. So, this is going to wind up in the Supreme Court, and my own personal belief, I am not an attorney, and in a lot of ways, these kinds of arguments they're certainly above my pay grade, but we are all encouraged to read the Constitution, try to understand it the best we can. I think the president is going to have a hard time winning with that argument, simply because I think the courts in the past, when the issue, when states, for example, have passed laws saying if you're here illegally, you can't get welfare. You have no right to education. Those kinds of cases the decisions have usually come down on the side of, if you are in the United States, you're subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. But this, to President Trump's credit, you got to go here. You've got to try to make the legal case for these efforts at removing people who have come here illegally. So we'll see. We'll see how this plays out.
Yeah, it is one of the more contentious. He flooded the zone with this, right? 200 orders, 200 executive orders in the first couple days. If you were a Democrat or an opponent of President Trump, how are you going to coordinate an attack on that? Is it like, okay, let's get 200 Democrats and each one pick one, and that's no one's going to listen to 200 Democrats. Each one having they have to pick and choose. This is the same way he did when he announced the appointments to his cabinet. Bam, 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 bam. They didn't have enough time for anybody to react.
Yeah, and if they did, they picked one.
Yeah.
Right.
And they weren't
then the
able
rest of them went undercover.
Sure.
Yeah, so and he has pledged, by the way, with this birthright citizenship thing, he has pledged that, or he said that anybody who has already been granted citizenship under the 14th Amendment, he's not going to take it away.
Right.
This is going going forward. There is another executive order that he signed, and I think you guys would be very happy to hear. The State Department has implemented a landmark one flag policy on Monday. It's not an executive order. I think it's just a State Department policy, barring U.S. outposts at home and abroad from flying any other flag but the Stars and Stripes. The reason they did this because there's been a little controversy that our embassies have flown rainbow flags or BLM flags. That's going to stop. It's going to be just the American flag and maybe the Christian flag. No, not even that.
That's one of the things that he brings to the table from day one all the way back to his first term in running in 2015 and being elected in 2016 is that he does put America first. And when you unify around a flag or unify around putting your citizens first from a border standpoint, from protecting the border, that way the American citizens are protected potentially from terrorism. Like, putting America first has always been something that he has not only said but done. And when you do things like this, you got to think that it's that much more of those that were maybe on the fence, or I don't know. I guess what I'm getting at is, how can you not unify behind that? Even now, obviously, you have some that are so far left that don't care. But
I think what you're saying, Wes, and I agree, is that there's nothing we have in common in this country except for an idea, which is the Constitution and our form of government. We don't have a common race. There's black people, there's all kinds of races. We don't have a common language. We don't even have a common culture. And you know, and I know this from moving down here to the South.
English is our common language.
Well, but
it depends on what part of the country and how they speak English.
Well, that's true. No, but that's not true because, I'm sorry, but it is the common language, but it's not. There are large pockets of people who don't speak English, or especially at home at all. I mean, this country is only united really behind the idea of democracy and the Constitution, and so when you put a flag up there, I think that is what we unite around. That's the idea.
Because the other way, the alternative was more divisive. When you start putting up, would you consider BLM a political flag? I don't know how you would consider that, but anyways, the idea when you put up a political image and it's behind the government, or government's behind putting it up, that's divisive. Obviously, and
yes, and that's one of the reasons that the Democrats lost the election, is because of the racial and divisiveness that they brought to the country, even though they're the ones who claim Trump and the Republicans are the ones who are racist.
Right.
I think they so overplayed their hand by Boy That Cried Wolf stuff that there was a rapper who attended the inauguration. Was it Nelly?
Yeah.
Okay. He's a very famous rapper.
From my time.
90s. 90s. A very famous rapper. Nelly is his name. And,
Nelly is his name, So I'm sorry. I got that wrong. I got the wrong
I
song.
was trying to make a serious point.
Yes,
Ed.
I know. I've been clowning around the
you-
whole day.
well, I'm taking
All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Make
it.
me.
Anyway, we're trying to have a serious show.
Yes,
here.
I recant.
Okay. Let's act like adults. Tammy.
Okay.
All right, so
That's not going to age well.
this rapper has said he was criticized for attending the inauguration and singing, rapping, and he said, "Listen, you know, this is a time of celebration in our country. It doesn't matter whether it's Republican or Democrat. I would go and sing if I was invited," which is, I guess, what Carrie Underwood said.
Right.
But he was saying that you know, I don't know, why am I talking about this? What was your point?
I don't know. We're talking about comment, what have in common.
we can, yeah, what we have in common.
Comment. Okay, yeah, that's what he was saying was, I know what he was saying. He says, people say Donald Trump is a white nationalist, or no, a white supremacist. He said, show me where he's ever been a white supremacist. This was a black rapper, a very popular gentleman by the name of Nelly, saying that what he was saying was, nobody's buying that except the far lefties anymore. People even who are liberals or Democrats aren't buying the racist bit anymore. We're tired of hearing it, and life for people of color in America is not going to change for the worse because Donald Trump's in the White House.
What he said, I have the quote for what he
From Nelly?
Yeah, what Nelly is saying in responding. He says this, quote, "But what will I say? What I will say about it is that I respect the office," and about the office for president.
Right.
This isn't politics. The politics is, for me, is over. He won. He's the president. He's the commander in chief. What I would like to say is that this is the best country in the world. And he went on to discuss how his dad served in the Air Force. And he said, if these people can give their lives for the office, Nelly can perform. It is an honor. It is yes. It is an honor for me to perform for President of the United States, regardless of who is in office.
There you go.
I think that is a great way of putting it.
Is that where he also goes on to say he's a white supremacist? But I haven't ever seen any evidence of that. Nelly.
Yeah, I'm trying to find.
Anyway, he went on to say that basically, and I think he's saying, you know, look at the President Trump got I think got a highest percentage of vote among African Americans ever by a Republican president, and same thing for Hispanics.
He actually won a majority of Hispanics.
Did he really?
I think so.
So they're going to have to come up with a new accusation that's going to be more plausible than.
Yeah, the people they're targeting with those kinds of accusations.
It's not working
It's not
anymore.
working. They're not buying it.
Yeah, because that's the card that the Democrats play a lot is, hey, you got to vote for us, or these white supremacist Republicans are going to send you. Well, Biden said they're going to put you back in chains.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Right?
So it's kind of like the Democrats do with Social Security, scaring old folks. Hey, you vote for the Republicans, there goes your Social Security. With the blacks and the brown folks and the people, quote, of color in this country, Democrats say, hey, you vote for the Republicans, there goes your freedoms. You know, Biden said they're going to put you back in chains. And I think black folks and brown folks and others, minorities, are going, wait a minute, that's nuts.
Well, they are now, because what we have is a decade of that messaging, maybe more, but at least I'm speaking during my lifetime. I'm 35, so I've noticed it over the last 10 or 15 years, that being the message, which
What being the message?
the message of sensationalizing things, making things emotional, identity politics,
Scaring people by saying Trump.
Sky's
The
falling.
pot. Here's what's going to happen in the event he gets elected.
Yeah.
So I've been seeing that for a decade, and at first they're so persuasive on the emotional side of things that you get the reaction that you got when you get an Obama or you get a Democrat president. But the point I'm getting at is after a decade of them saying, let's use the analogy, the sky's falling, and it doesn't fall.
Right.
Then
you don't go back and change.
or you don't go back and change, or they don't. All the
Scare tactics.
that when you have a decade of it not happening, that's where you do get, okay. Like, for example, over the break we were talking about like a burger fail. Once they got that, again, we all disagree
It's
with it.
the gay marriage Supreme Court ruling.
Right. Once they've gotten that, at this point, they can't use it. That's all. That's what they wanted. They got it.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I don't like it anymore. Hopefully, in our lifetime, we see it overturned. But the point is that that community can't say that they are being held back from anything. No, they can. My point is, they can do everything that anyone else can do.
Especially for this identity politics for blacks and Hispanics. Trump was president for 4 years.
Yeah.
Nobody got put back in chains.
Yep.
So you'd say that long enough and it doesn't happen.
And
then you go, well, wait a second.
you start losing. You're going to lose a lot of young. Hey, think about this though.
Let me just say one thing about the Obergefell decision. Should anyone question this, our position here at American Family Association is that the Supreme Court got it wrong
Yes.
on same-sex marriage, homosexual marriage, and that the issue was working fine at the state level.
Mm-hmm.
And many states had passed marriage protection amendments to define marriages between a man and a woman. And what the Supreme Court did is came in and said, we're wiping away all those states' decisions. We're going to say it's homosexual marriage is lawful in every state of the union. That's where our disagreement came on Obergefell. Now, morally speaking, that's the legal answer.
Sure.
Morally speaking, the Bible's, the Christian teaching, teaching in religions all over the world, not just Christianity, Judaism, Islam, they've never recognized same-sex marriage. That's ridiculous.
It's unnatural and
Well,
Moral and unnatural.
our argument is that it's not marriage. I don't care what the Supreme Court ruled.
It's not.
It's not marriage. Marriage is the joining of the two opposite genders, the two distinct genders. You can make this a biological case. The joining of two becoming one flesh for the purpose of procreation. And so it would be just as ludicrous if the Supreme Court had ruled in 2015, you know what, it's unfair, it's unequal for women to always have the right to get pregnant and have babies. So we are now declaring that men can get pregnant and have babies. And you go, wait a second, it doesn't matter if you're declaring it, it's not biologically true.
Right.
And that's part of the argument.
Sometimes I feel like I throw a grenade in the middle of this thing and just watch back and sit back and watch.
Yeah, we're not without opinions here, Steve. And you can get us riled up. There's no telling where we're going to go.
Right.
Hey, real quick, do you know? Have you heard? I'm looking forward to hearing from Caroline Levitt. Is that her name?
That's exactly how you pronounce it.
She's 27 years old, and she's President Trump's new press secretary.
Yep.
And she becomes the youngest person to hold a coveted position. Has she had a press conference yet? Do you know?
Not in the. I don't believe she's had one in
I've
the
seen her
press
interview,
room.
but I haven't.
She's been doing interviews.
She's been doing interviews. I don't think she's had her first
Official.
Do you guys remember the first day in 2017 of the Donald Trump era, his first press conference? It might have been, I don't remember.
Sean Spicer,
Sean
how big
Spicer.
the crowd was for the inauguration.
He came out and he said, he kind of laid down the law. This is how I knew it was going to be a different administration. He said, this is how it's going to work. You're going to ask questions. We're not going to take these kind of things. And then he left. It's like,
I remember that.
That was weird.
I remember that. Well, he was also going out there to complain about the size of the crowd. That the media was saying that Trump's crowd wasn't as big as Obama's crowd, and it was it was a waste of time, in my opinion. But anyway, I'm looking forward to hearing from Caroline Levitt because she's 27, and she's going to be the Kayleigh McEnany and Sarah
Huckabee Sanders.
Yeah, she's doing their job.
Let me just tell you that you'll notice a difference when she stands up there as opposed to what you've been seeing the last 4 years.
No binder.
Well, she'll probably have a binder, but she won't read verbatim from it.
And I just can't imagine it, her going to her 10-year class reunion.
I know, right?
In high school. Hey, what's everybody doing for a job? Well, I'm working at the factory.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no, nothing's wrong with that. What are you doing, Sam? I'm a plumber. Nothing wrong with that. What are you doing, Caroline? I'm the White House press secretary. After that, nobody wants to say what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's extraordinary.
Oh.
27 years old.
27 years old.
And she, no matter how inexperienced she may be, she'll
Yeah.
do better.
Well,
Yeah.
I got to think she's going to be dynamite if Trump picked her and she's that young.
My
Yeah.
pet poodle could stand up there and be better than what we've been seeing since.
All right, well. All right, have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
The abortion pill now accounts for over 60% of all abortions and continues to destroy millions of babies' lives. But in the midst of the tragedy, Preborn's network of clinics offers love, life, and the gospel to babies and mothers. After Jan took the abortion pill, she immediately regretted it.
Look at that baby. How beautiful he is. Abortion pill reversal actually works. Let's hear his heartbeat. Oh, look how strong it is. Oh, praise God.
By the amazing grace of God, this baby was saved. But every day, we lose over 1,000 babies to this toxic pill. Would you join AFR and Preborn this week as we rescue 4,500 babies? To donate, please go to afr.net or call now at 877-616-2396. That's 877-616-2396.
Hey friends of 8 Days of Hope, human trafficking is the fastest growing crime globally. It's now estimated that traffickers are turning a profit of $236 billion annually. And as awareness of this horrific crime increases, survivors are looking for support as they exit a life of unimaginable hurt and brokenness. At 8 Days of Hope, we are humbled to come alongside ministries that are serving survivors across the United States. We've helped 13 organizations build or remodel transitional homes, counseling centers, and even launch a $4.5 million campus in Central Ohio for girls who are rescued from this monstrous crime. Today, we are looking for volunteers who are skilled in construction to join us as we work together to end human trafficking. If you love roofing, are skilled in plumbing or electrical, or just consider yourself handy, we would love for you to join us. You must be 18 and older and pass a background check to serve with this arm of the ministry. To get involved, email us at safehouse@8daysofhope.com. That's safehouse@8daysofhope.com.
When I found out I was pregnant, I was devastated. I had no idea what to do.
When a young mom faces an unplanned pregnancy, she's confused and scared. Society tells her that her baby is not a life and offers termination as the best solution. Preborn Network clinics shine a light into the darkness and offer hope, love, and lifelong impact.
As soon as I get there, I felt welcome. They gave me the first look at my baby by providing a free ultrasound.
Once a mother meets her precious baby on ultrasound and hears their heartbeat, she's 80% likely to choose life. Preborn has rescued over 300,000 babies. To learn more about their life-saving work, call pound 250 and say the keyword baby. That's pound 250 baby. Or visit preborn.com/AFR. That's preborn.com/AFR. All gifts are tax deductible. Here's Dr. Ligon Duncan from the American Family Studios documentary, The God Who Speaks.
I think the most striking thing to me about the Bible is that it not only reveals God to me, it is God speaking to us, revealing himself to us. But in the process of teaching us about himself, he reveals so much about who we are. I often tell people that one of the ways that I know that the Bible is true is the way that it diagnoses my sin. I'm often reading through a passage and I'm thinking, this was written 3,000 years ago, and yet it perfectly diagnoses the state of the sin of my heart. The only way that can happen is if my Creator is actually the author of the book.
Visit thegodwhospeaks.org.
God often allows trials for our good. You say, well, it doesn't feel good. Right. But it is good. Why? Because he knows the big picture. He knows the ultimate outcome of what could happen.
Welcome to In Grace with Jim Scudder, the senior pastor of Clinton Road Baptist Church.